full night's sleep and you still feel tired?
All the time.
Feel like I just got 8 hours of sleep and I should be ready to rock it, and I'm not. That was me. That was part of my journey, part of what led me to FDN, Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. I just thought it was part of getting older, part of being a busy mom. I thought perhaps it was my genetics. My mom was always a bad sleeper, and so I just figured it's just part of what happens. But over 20 years of research, my training, I discovered that that's not actually the case. Poor sleep is really our body crying out to tell us and send us a message that something isn't working right. Now, we kind of talked about this a little bit already. I was headed to medical school forever ago. I detoured through insurance, through education, because what I wanted to do with a medical career wasn't an option 20 years ago. The culture, the community just wasn't ready for heal yourself through lifestyle changes. We still were in a state of fix it with a pill, and that's not the type of philosophy that I have, and so I needed to find something else to do until the people were ready to take control and change themselves. So that led me to Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. I founded Angel Wing Health LLC in order to help establish a practice where people could seek data-based healing. I'm a mathematician by training, and I don't just want to guess and check our ways of healing. I want to use data to help guide clients towards healing. So Craig and I with Proactive are collaborating in order to help identify root causes, what is going on in a body, so that we can help people become more rested, feel more energized, and enjoy life more. Okay, so I want you to think about your life like a bucket. Now, is this going to let me stop this? Oh, it is. Good. Now we'll see if I can start it again. Or if it's, I don't know what's going to happen. But so if we think about our lives and our stress, and think about stress not just as in like I'm busy stress, but stress as in like toxins we add and busy work life and eating poorly and all of those things. When we're born, hopefully our bucket is empty and everything that comes into it goes out through the drain. But over time, as we just work through life, we start eating more processed foods, we add in more toxins. As we get older, we start adding in work stress, we over-exercise, maybe we have less time to recover, so we don't recover properly. We add in emotional stress. And all of those things are gonna start to fill up our buckets. Now, hopefully we're draining those buckets well, using kidneys, liver, lymph systems to help get rid of those toxins from the body. But eventually, as we age, our drain gets clogged up and our bucket starts filling up faster and faster and faster. The drain is going to clog up from things like poor diet, lack of movement, toxins, those kinds of things. And then our faucets are adding in more stressors, things like busy life, increased responsibilities, and whatever. But what happens when our bucket gets full is we start having symptoms. These are things like poor sleep, fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, and our aches and our pains. But the good news is that if we can figure out which faucets are on too high, we can turn those down. If we can figure out which drains aren't working well, we can open up those drains and lower that bucket and reduce symptoms across the board. So identifying and removing those stressors, we're trying to lower that overflow there. And this is things like identifying wrong foods for you, removing chronic stress or reducing chronic stress, eliminating electromagnetic frequencies. Well, we can't eliminate them, but we're going to reduce them, getting rid of toxins, and then opening up our drain systems. As we open up those drains, we're going to see those symptoms start to reduce, and hopefully a lot of them will eliminate. Okay, so sleep is important. We know sleep is really important for a whole lot of reasons. If we don't get enough sleep, we don't get restful enough sleep, that is going to actually affect our processes for healing and for longevity. There's 4 phases of sleep, and each one of them has unique features that our body is working through as we're in that phase of sleep. So the first sleep is non-REM phase 1 sleep, and this is just our transition phase. This is, you're in light sleep, you're kind of moving in and out of waking up, falling asleep. Not a lot is happening in terms of healing here. This is just setting the stage for the rest of the phases throughout the night. Our second phase is non-REM sleep phase 2. And so the first phase we're in for 3 to 10, 15 minutes at the beginning of sleep. Non-REM phase 2 we're in usually for 15 to 45 minutes. And what's happening here is our metabolism is shifting into recovery mode. So we're kind of cleaning up and cleaning out our metabolism and helping get things tidied up in that arena. Our memories are sorted in this stage. We're going to figure out which ones we want to save, which ones we want to discard, and this applies to new things that we've learned as well. We're going to solidify these skills in memory, or we're going to release them. And then our hormone signals are preparing for the growth and repair that's going to happen in the next phase. So the next one then is non-REM sleep phase 3. We spend 45 to 90 minutes in this phase at a time. And in this phase, this is where our physical body is repaired. This is where the cells and the tissues are going to see repair happen. Our immune system is recharged in phase 3. Our lymphatic system, which is a system in the brain that cleans out the waste and the toxins in the brain, that is going to be activated, and we're going to do the detoxing in the brain during phase 3. And then energy restoration is at its peak here. So we're rebuilding the stores for maximum energy production for the next day. Then the last phase is our REM sleep, and this is the one you hear so much about is our REM sleep. But actually in this one, memory consolidation is at its peak, but there's really not a lot more in terms of repair work that happens during REM sleep. We dream here, and our body becomes paralyzed so that we don't act out our dreams, but we don't do a lot of repair work during REM sleep. The repair happens mostly in phase 2 and phase 3. So we go through these 4 cycles, or these 4 phases rather. That's called one cycle, and then we start over. We don't always go back to phase 1, and we don't always work through them in progression, but those 4 phases repeat themselves 4 to 6 times per night, typically, if we're having a good night's sleep. In the early cycles in the night, cycles 1, 2, maybe 3, that's where we're seeing the body work on physical repair, that's where a lot of the physical repair is happening. And then as we go later in the night is where we're seeing a lot of the mental and the emotional repair, the restoration happening in the later cycles at night. But our hormone balance, which happens in phase 2, our immune system repair, which is a phase 3 process, and then brain detoxification, which is also a phase 3 process, those are happening every single night, and the intensity of those and how much they're happening is going to depend on which phase of sleep we're in, and are we getting through that phase effectively, or getting enough time in that phase, those kinds of things. So if you're not sleeping well, it makes a lot of sense that we're going to have a lot of symptoms. So for example, if you're not sleeping well in phase 2, if your phase 2 sleep is interrupted, you're going to find that you have a lot more pain. You have a lot more physical troubles. You might find it difficult to lose weight. You might have obsessive and circular thoughts. You might find it really hard to let things go because you couldn't consolidate those memories. You couldn't release those memories that didn't need to be there. They stay there, and now we keep reliving and obsessing over these things that the brain just hasn't been able to clean out because we missed a lot of phase 2 sleep. If your phase 3 sleep is interrupted, you might find that you're sick more often because that's where your immune system is going to be kind of cleaned up and powered up. You might find that you have brain fog that doesn't go away, or that you're tired or you're fatigued because this is where your energy is being restored is in phase 3 sleep. And just as a side note, when you're perpetually fatigued, your body will increase your cravings, and you will find that you need more carbohydrates and sugars to get through the day, which leads to weight gain, which leads to the cycles being off, which there's a whole lot of things, going back to what Craig was saying, we're in this perpetual cycle. We can't sleep because we can't rest, it's just a big mess. So we definitely want to help make sure we're getting our good quality sleep in our phases. So how do we do that? Well, I'm going to go over 3 different common disruptors for sleep. And the first one is blue light. Light is a major disruptor for proper sleep patterns, blue light specifically. Now, in our eyes, we have special cells called melanopsin cells, and these are going to tell our brain what time of day it is. And they're based on the wavelength of the light that's coming into the eyes. So the sunlight changes its wavelength as we go through the day, and the blue lights in our screens, in our TVs, even our overhead lights, our phones, all of those things, the wavelength from those devices mimics the sun wavelength from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So it mimics midday sun wavelength. And the reason that that's a problem for us is that when we're on screens early in the morning, we're on screens late in the evening, we are sending a signal to our brain that it is the middle of the day. And so those melanopsin cells say, well, if it's the middle of the day, then we need to be eating, and we need to be moving, and we need to be, all of the things that are middle of the day behaviors need to happen. Well, we don't want those to happen at night, because night is when you're supposed to restore and repair, not consume, burn calories, collect calories, all of those things. And so it's really important that we pay attention to when we're getting light and what kind of light we're getting into our eyes. Another thing that happens with screens overnight is we shut down our melatonin production. Melatonin is a really critical hormone for sleep, which a lot of people have heard of, but it's also a critical antioxidant. And so it helps the body detoxify as well. And so if we shut down production of melatonin by sending daytime signals to the brain when our melatonin is supposed to start being produced, we are shutting down our body's ability to detoxify overnight. And so it's kind of a double whammy that these lights are. So how do we fix this? Well, a really great place to start is actually in the morning and not at night. It's really important that you get natural sunlight to your eyes first thing in the morning. And this means no glasses, it means no contacts, and it means no sunglasses. Now it doesn't mean stare straight at the sun, and it doesn't mean if it's cloudy you're given a pass, because we're looking for the wavelengths that pass through the atmosphere and down to Earth. And so we want to give our eyes and those melanopsin cells access to that wavelength to signal the body that, hey, it's morning and we're supposed to start these building processes. You should be hungriest and fill your belly the most in the morning. And then as the sun progresses through to the evening, your body should know to turn off those hunger hormones to prepare for nighttime. And so if we start our day with sunlight, we start that process on schedule and help the body adjust back to a normal circadian rhythm. Another good fix is to wear blue light blockers after dark. It's hard in the summer because a lot of times we want to go to bed before dark, but you should put them on an hour before you go to bed or at dark, depending on what you can, what feels good. Make sure that the blue light blockers are amber tinted though. You don't want the yellow or clear ones because the amber tinted is going to block all of the blue light, and after dark there is no blue light coming from the sun anymore because there's no more sun. And so those make an enormous difference in helping your body adjust to the proper circadian rhythms. Another thing is to dim your lights. Overhead lights cause more disruption to your circadian patterns than lamps and lights that are low to the ground that are below your eye level. And so if you dim your house lights at night, you can also help to keep the light from affecting your sleep. Okay, sleep disruptor 2 happens to be evening triggers. These are things like alcohol, sugar, caffeine, late night workouts, eating late. A lot of these affect or they stimulate our processing mode in the body, and they delay our rest and repair processes. And so when we do any of these things late in the evening, within 3 hours or less of bedtime, we are setting ourselves up to disrupt our sleep just because of our evening habits. So what are some fixes for these? Well, my favorite one is follow the 3-2-1 rule. So this says don't eat anything within 3 hours of bedtime. Don't drink anything within 2 hours of bedtime. And don't watch screens have blue lights in front of you within 1 hour of bedtime. That can make a huge difference in the quality of sleep that you get by just following that rule. Another one, obviously, if you're working out, don't do it right before bedtime. Do it earlier in the day. Working out intensely raises cortisol, which pushes you into fight or flight mode and keeps you from getting into that rest and repair mode at night. And the last one is, if you're going to have alcohol and or desserts, try to do them rarely, and try to eat them with your meal or drink them with your meal. Don't have cocktail hour after dinner. Have it with food, because it will slow, I won't say slow the absorption, but it will keep your body from doing this great big spike in blood sugar that happens in the middle of the night when you drink late or eat sugar late. Okay? All right, and then the last sleep disruptor is your sleep sanctuary. What's your bedroom like? So noise, lights in the bedroom, temperatures that are too hot or too cold, evening stress right before you go to bed. These can all affect your deep sleep and keep you from getting into the late phases of sleep where the rest and repair happen, even if you fall asleep quickly. But a lot of people say, I fall asleep really well, I just don't wake up rested. Well, you might fall asleep well, but if you're not getting into phase 2 and phase 3 sleep, you are not seeing repair in your body. And so a lot of these things are going to affect how quickly you get into the deeper repair mechanisms of sleep. So how do we fix some of these? Well, the first one you could do is put up blackout curtains or invest in a sleep mask. They're like $10. They're so inexpensive and they work wonderfully. Get your bedroom cool. 64 to 67 degrees is ideal for the body temperature. What we want to have happen is for the core temperature of the body to drop at night. That stimulates a lot of healing and repair processes in the body. If your body stays too warm, you can't get into those deeper phases of sleep. Get your electronics away from your bed. And if you can't, if you're like, I gotta have my phone plugged in because it's my alarm clock or whatever, move it off the plane of where you sleep. So if your bed is here, put the phone up higher or put it down lower so that the electromagnetic fields coming from the phone are not adding stress to your brain and body while you were trying to recover and repair. Earplugs. As we age, our sleep automatically becomes lighter. And so often as we age, we need to add in earplugs and the eye mask to keep those small disturbances from disrupting our sleep. Now, they may not wake you up, but they may pull you out of phase 2 and phase 3 sleep back into phase 1 where you're no longer recovering. And so by wearing earplugs or putting a sleep mask on, you can keep those little disturbances that didn't used to wake you up or didn't used to disturb you from interfering with quality sleep. And the last one is clutter. If you walk into your bedroom and it doesn't feel like, oh, this is a great place to be, then you may have too much clutter that is actually stimulating your brain at night to be on alert for something that's going to jump out of the clutter and the mess that's in your room. And so having a clean, tidy, clutter-less room can actually be a critical piece of having a sleep sanctuary. Okay, so if you've done those 3 things, you're like, I know these are pretty common fixes people talk about a lot, and I still can't sleep. Here are some other potential culprits. The first one is food sensitivities. If you are eating foods to which your body is sensitive, and everybody has different foods that they are likely sensitive to, this is stimulating an immune response in your body, and that immune response is going to raise cortisol, and cortisol is going to keep you awake. Okay? Another one is chronic stress. Even if you can't identify what the chronic stress is, sometimes chronic stress is a low-grade infection from a root canal you had 10 years ago that you haven't gotten healed up, or it's a low-grade infection in your gut somewhere. It's a muscle that's never properly healed and is causing you some pain. Low-grade chronic stress, identifiable or not, is going to tell your body to be in a fight or flight state continuously. And when we are in a fight or flight state, the body will not let you rest because it is interpreting that cortisol response as danger is imminent, be prepared. And so you can't get to those deep phases of sleep if you are under chronic stress. Okay, another one, hypothyroidism, low methylation, hormone imbalances. These are all going to affect the signaling pathways that are going to control the timing of your phases. And so when these are off, your body might push you through phase 2 too fast, or you might just skip phase 3 altogether because the triggers in your body for those phases are not working properly because some of these things are not working optimally. The last one is oxidative stress and histamine. Too much of these mean basically you've got a lot of trash in the body, and if there's too much trash, the body doesn't have enough time at night to clean it up, and then you accumulate more tomorrow, and then you can't clean it up and you accumulate more, and you're in this perpetual cycle of I can't ever get my trash cleaned out of the body. And that's going to lead you to headaches, to joint pain, and to fatigue because we just don't have enough energy to clean all these things up. So we can address a lot of these with lifestyle changes, but we identify a lot of these through testing. So if you've tried all of the basics that we talked about before, often lab testing is the next step. If we can use functional lab testing to figure out where inside of your body things aren't working right, then we can identify lifestyle changes that will help address those places where things are not working properly. We call those hidden obstacles. Basically, we're addressing hormones, immune system, digestion, detoxification, energy production, and nervous system. We're testing for those areas out where is the body not functioning well. And then Craig and I coach you through lifestyle changes in order to help repair those systems. Okay, so simple fix you can start tonight if you're not sleeping well. Just pick one or two things. There was a bunch I talked about, I'm going to talk about most of them again. But just pick one or two and try to tackle those. So start with the morning sun. Remember, no glasses. Any glass that's on your face is going to block the sun's rays and you're not getting the benefit of that morning sun. In terms of your circadian rhythm, there's lots of other reasons to be outside. But if you want your circadian rhythm to adapt, you need to have bare eyes available for sunlight.
So for how long?
5 minutes is a great start. 15 is fabulous. But I mean, you'll see a benefit with even 5 minutes.
Okay.
I've heard of people taking their toothbrush and just brushing their teeth outside to get their, because they don't need to see anything. They just need to be out in the sunlight.
Okay.
So great question.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm just going to be locking these doors.
Okay.
So you can exit through these two, but we'll close the big door until the library.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much. Okay, pay attention to your screens, to your lights, and wear blue light blockers after dark if you're not going to go to bed at dark. Now, Spectra 479 is a company, they're an American-based company that I love. They have a quality blue light blocker. If you are having troubles with screens, you gotta check these guys out. And if you use the code ANGELWING, you'll get 15% off. They're like $35 for a pair of glasses. They have ones that go over your glasses, they have ones that clip on your glasses, and they have ones if you don't need glasses that you can wear. They have both amber glasses and yellow glasses. Yellow ones are if you're on screens a lot during the daytime, so that like morning screen use, afternoon screen use isn't still convincing your body it's noon. And then the amber ones, the dark tinted ones, are for nighttime use. And they really, I wear mine every night. I love them. They just help my whole body come down into like a sense of, hey, it's wind down, I'm ready for bed, just by cutting out the blue lights in the house. So they're awesome. Okay, next one, stop eating 3 hours before bed. This is huge. We have to shut the kitchen down in order to clean it up and repair. If there's food in the body when you go to bed, it delays digestion and it eliminates a lot of that repair work that should happen overnight because you still got food in your belly. Keep your bedroom dark and cool. Hang a blanket up, put blue light, put light blocking blinds up. Get your temperature down 64, 67 degrees is ideal for getting the body temperature down for quality sleep. Invest in earplugs or a sleep mask. And then track it. If you pick one of these things to try or two of these things to try, make a mental note of how you were sleeping before and then see how you're sleeping even a week later. A lot of people will pick one or two of these things up and see a significant improvement in how well they sleep just by changing a few of these simple things. Okay, so bad sleep isn't bad luck. It's a message from your body and we have to figure out what that is. I have a sleep sanctuary quiz, which is that one off to the right-hand side. It's free, it's just a way to go see, is your bedroom really providing you with a sleep sanctuary or not? And then if you're ready to stop guessing about what's going on with your health and you want to test and not guess, that's what this QR code is to just book a free call and we'll just sit down and talk about what your health goals are, what your sleep goals are, and find out if testing and coaching are the right next step or not. And then my Instagram is at the bottom. I post a lot of random things on Instagram. A lot of sleep, a lot of metabolic health, a lot of nutrition pieces, just little reels here and there on Instagram. So that's what I have. Yeah. Any questions? That was a lot. I just kind of bled that all out at you.
That's amazing. And you said you were going to post your video on, you said YouTube? You have a different thing?
Yeah, I do. It's Angel Wing Health. I think it's Angel Wing Health on YouTube.
Okay.
Search up Angel Wing Health. It's that same logo up there should show up on the the right YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just post all my talks out there. I don't really advertise the YouTube at all. It's just a place to stick stuff. And I'll put a note on the Suffolk County Online too.
Okay.
And then I'll send the YouTube links probably too, because I don't think I can probably send the hour-long video. And you can post them on your Facebook or whatever's easiest to do there too. So we'll try to get them out to you.
Okay.
So you can.
So I go back over and
Yeah, there's a lot there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, okay.
Yeah.
No,
Did
thank
you have
you.
questions we didn't address? Anything you were hoping to get at it tonight that we didn't talk about?
Are you gonna work with Raleigh at all?
I'm hoping to make a connection with Raleigh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's been so busy with the new hospital opening and everything,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
her caseload is full of it. We haven't managed to make it work, but
Yeah, she's very busy.
yes. Yeah, my understanding is her caseload is completely full.
Yes. But a lot of this ties in with it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. What I find, there are more and more physicians that are willing to open their minds to changing lifestyle. And actually what I think it is not that that their minds weren't open, it's that their patients weren't ready. And I think more people are ready, and so more physicians are willing, but they don't have the time in their day
No.
to educate and to talk through all of these changes.
Right.
And that's where my business hopes to meet the need in Southern County is.
Yeah.
So let's test, let's figure out what's not working right, and then let's build a plan, and then I'm not just gonna hand you a plan and say best of luck. We wanna hand you a plan and say, okay, now we're gonna walk with you for the next 3 to 4 months and see how it's going, and see what ways do you need support, and what things aren't working we need to change, and.
Okay.
Yeah, speaking with, about Raleigh, we have a really good relationship with her, with, Leanne Parks. She's our women's health physical therapist.
She's your business partner too.
Yeah, she's the co-owner of Proactive now. And so, yeah, we have a really good relationship with Raleigh on that. For women's health issues, physical therapy, there's a lot more than you think that can be done that way.
Yeah.
And certainly nutritional and other lifestyle medicine issues are tied into that. And so, how we kind of envision that happening is, you know, if someone comes in, like let's say Raleigh refers someone to Leanne for some women's health physical therapy, and there's concerns for these lifestyle medicine issues and nutritional issues, then we'll get kind of the whole team involved. And so, you know, Emily will come on board, and for you know, the data from the labs on nutrition is where Katie has a really important specialty. So that's kind of how we envision helping people kind of get more complete health, is to approach it that way. Because yeah, the medical profession is really good at what they're doing, but like only 30% of medical schools have any nutritional education.
And even at that, it's a day.
Yeah.
It's not a semester, it's not a.
Yeah, and it's very, yeah, like exactly. And so there is this huge gap, and same thing for physical activity and other issues that way. So hopefully we'll kind of be able to help a lot more people find that health they're desiring, you know. Like I know for me, like I changed one thing for my sleep. I stopped drinking fluids at 2 hours before. World of difference. Like I sleep so much better, you know. And so people don't realize that, especially in our society. Like I struggle with the fluids thing because during my day I'm not stopping to consume fluids, and so when I'm home late in the evening, I'm like, oh, I'm so thirsty. I'm like, gotta go this water, you know. And so.
And then stop food sensitivities. You know, you're
Yeah.
talking about headaches, and for me, I had those chronic, those tension headaches for years, like since I was little.
Yeah.
My mom always was just like, drink more water. Well, what I found out through testing was I have an allergy or sensitivity. I shouldn't use the word allergy because they're not allergies. But I have a sensitivity to dairy. And when I cut dairy out of my life, which I did for different reasons, I wasn't doing it for headaches, but I found that my headaches vanished. It wasn't a physical structure issue. It was just inflammation that the dairy was causing in my body was resulting in my headaches, which were resulting in poor sleep, which were resulting in like so many other things were tied to that. And by correcting my diet to what my body wanted has made an enormous difference.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, well, and, you know, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will have